Heroes created by people's imagination live and commit their acts of bravery in our program, The Legend of Kazakhs. Legends are an invaluable cultural heritage passed down from generation to generation. They say that if you sit down on a bright moonlit night by the waterfall, you can see and hear his spirit. And it is he who performs the majestic music created by nature itself. At first, you can only distinguish a mighty roar, but then the music infatuates you, and you want to merge with the bubbling stream of harmonies. The magical power of the natural elements has always fascinated and attracted people. We look with admiration at the high mountains. We are enchanted with a bonfire, and we are reassured by the sound of the surf and disturbed by the howling of the wind in the mountain gorges. But most of all, we are fascinated by the cascade of water falling from the heights. Most often, waterfalls occur in mountainous areas. Softer rocks are more quickly destroyed by water, forming high ledges. From there, foaming streams come down with tremendous force, washing deep potholes at the foot. The water works unceasingly, and from time to time the edges of the ledge collapse under the influence of the strong jets, and the waterfall retreats up the river. The bottom becomes more and more flat. The waterfalls do not always remain unchanged. They are doomed to disappear, only it is done very slowly. They gradually change in their appearance. The mass of falling water together with large stones and pebbles is a huge force that gradually picks up even the hardest rocks. And in the place of the raging and rumbling waterfall, in time only the river will remain, calmly and smoothly carrying its water. That's how miracles are created by an eternal entity, water. The most beautiful is Kairak waterfall, which is located in the picturesque Turgem Gorge. There are many legends that people keep. Let's listen to one of them. The sun was high in the sky. In the village, it was surprisingly quiet and sleepy. 3 elderly women sat near their yurt. In their hands, one of them had a small sleeping child. They spoke quietly among themselves, trying not to wake the baby. There was a lot of news in the village. Someone was born, and someone was going to send matchmakers to the bride's house. Someone fell seriously ill, and someone rose to his feet after a serious illness. "It's hot today," one of them said, wiping sweat from her forehead. "Yes," her 2 friends said to her. "I wish we sat next to our waterfall. How nice it would have been. Such coolness and grace." "Yes, only to get near it." Everyone nodded their heads. The oldest of them lost herself in deep thought, and then she looked at her friend and said, "Akbike, tell me of your old story. I'm wondering how this could really be true, and if I didn't know that it was true, then I wouldn't believe it at all." "Oh, and if it hadn't happened to me myself," Akbike said, adjusting the white headscarf she wore, continued, "I would not have believed it myself." Yes, how long ago it was. It was when our old Kazakhs was still a small sprout, and I was quite a young girl. Well, here it goes. There was an old man named Jumabai who lived in our village. and he was so badly disposed that even his wife and his children left him. So he was left all alone. From early morning until late at night, he walked around the village and swore at everyone. Small children, he would wave his cane, and to the young men he would wave his whip, and he grabbed young girls by their braids. Moreover, he was a liar. He offended and deceived everyone, and this unbearable old man gave no peace to a single soul. And one day the whole village decided to get rid of that evil old man. So he began to live as a solitary man away from the village. Nobody would come to visit him. He was sad. It was a boring thing to be alone. And he began to pray every day to the highest powers that they should take pity on him and allow him to live with people again. He asked the Almighty, "Oh, Almighty God, have pity on me. It is not my fault that I'm so unbearable. I was like this from birth. But I will try. I will change. Give me the opportunity. You see everything and hear everything. Have pity on me. I will behave like an honest and righteous person." "I hear you," a voice broke out from heaven, like thunder in the mountains. Jumabai froze with fear. He stood, afraid to move. "What do you want? Tell me," again the voice said. The old man raised his head and babbled, "I want to become better than God. I want people to respect me for honesty and justice." "This is a good desire. So what do you want from me?" "Well, I'm old, and my body is decrepit and sick. Please, grant me youth, and then I can fulfill my promise." "I can make you young for a month, and only a month. But if you ever tell a single lie to someone, or deceive me, then I will give to you a terrible punishment." "Yes, I will change. I will become an honest person. Thank you, Almighty God." Before Jumbai could finish, suddenly the force filled his body. He straightened up and turned into a handsome young man. Jumabai did not believe his happiness. He looked at his strong arms and legs, at his strong body, and he couldn't believe that such a miracle had taken place. He began to think day and night about how to now heal in a new way. But no matter how hard Jumabai tried to think about the good deeds and actions, only self-interested thoughts prevailed over him. And he began to build an insidious plan about how to outwit the Almighty. He wanted to become both rich and famous, and even to take a young beautiful girl as his wife. Jumabai thought for a long time about how to arrange it, and he finally came up with a plan. There was a beautiful girl called Jibek. She was from a noble family, and her father planned to give her a great dowry. Besides, the glory of her art, playing on the dombra, was ahead of her. And he decided to go down to the village and go to Jibek. The women listened attentively to the story of the friend and shook their heads. The child was fast asleep. Jibek continued her story. And then a beautiful Jigit came to my father and told about himself, about what he knows and where he happened to be. The Jigit appeared to my father as a clever and well-mannered man. "Tell me, Jigit, "How many cattle do you have?" my father asked him. Jumabai hesitated for a moment and was about to speak when he suddenly remembered the words of the Almighty, that he could not utter a single word of deceit. And then he stopped and he thought and said, frankly and openly, "No, sir, I still have no wealth behind me." "Well, you said it yourself," the father praised him. "You rarely hear such sincere words. Your wealth is an open soul and a pure heart. I praise you for being honest. And money and livestock is something you can always gain with time. I allow you to see my daughter and to talk to her. I have only one condition. I will give my beautiful daughter to someone who will sincerely love her." "Yes, yes," the Jigit exclaimed. "I would give your daughter my life." But then Jumabai stopped and he was about to tell a lie, but he was afraid to break the condition of the Almighty, and he became silent. My father then nodded vigorously, taking such a speech for excitement so characteristic of his youth. Jumabai did not depart from Ibk. He looked at her with such a loving glance and sang songs to her. The young girl's heart quivered. A sincere and pure love was born in her soul. The days flew by like swift thoroughbred horses, and Jumabai thought about expiring time. Only a little time remained, because his youth was granted to him only for a month. The main thing is to play the wedding and to become the husband, Jumabai thought to himself. But the fact that I will become an old man, so what? She will still remain my wife anyway. Ibk sat under the tree and played a beautiful melody. Jumabai approached her and sat down beside her. "Your music is as beautiful as you are," the Jigit said. Ibk hesitated. "Ibk, you are so beautiful. You are like the morning dawn, and your soul is pure as a mountain spring, and anyone would be happy to be with you," said Jumabai, and this really was true. "Tell me, do you really love me with a true and deep, pure love?" Ibk asked. "I don't want to attract a man who will only want my dowry, but I need the warmth of heart and soul. Then I will be faithful wife to you." Jumabai did not know what to say, so he turned his head to both sides to say yes. Would he be untruthful? To say no means to say goodbye to the hope of marrying the rich, famous beauty. He thought about it, and his gaze fell on the running, turbulent river not far from them. And then it occurred to him to decide what to do. "My honey, Ibk, it's stuffy to sit here under the tree. Let's go to the river. I'll tell you the answer." They approached the river where it made a bend, forming a whirlpool. It was so noisy in that place that the words were not heard at all. And Jumabai planned to lie to the Almighty. He would answer in her ear, and the thunder of water would drown out his words, and the Almighty would not hear anything. And Jumabai whispered in the girl's ear, "I'm telling you, yes." At the same instant, suddenly it became quiet around. Even the river became quiet. The blue sky suddenly became dark. It was as if it split into two parts. The lightning flashed in the sky. A grand, deep voice came from heaven. "You have told a lie, and you also want to deceive me. You thought I wouldn't hear?" Jumabai and Ibk froze in a daze. "I even knew all of your thoughts," the voice of the Almighty rumbled. "But I kept the word given to you, that I will punish you only for lying. For your meanness and insidiousness, a terrible punishment awaits you. You broke your word and deceived a man." In an instant, Jumabai turned into an old man and rushed to escape, trying to save himself. He wanted to run across the river, But then a powerful, bright lightning struck the vile old man. The river boiled, and the ground cracked and opened, and Jumabai flew into the abyss, and the whole river collapsed with him. That's how it really was, Ibake finished her story. That's how the waterfall appeared in our region. The women nodded their heads, and they heard the baby crying. The women began to calm him and lull him, singing a lingering lullaby. The people still tell this legend to each other when they look at the beautiful Kairak waterfall. From ancient times, people have worshipped waterfalls. They believe that demons and ghosts talk to them with the roar of the falling water, and invisible spirits can change their lives. Even today, many tourists leave colorful ribbons on a number of growing bushes and trees around the waterfall for the fulfillment of desires and success in their business. The Kairak waterfall is located in one of the most beautiful places of the Almaty region, in the Turgen Gorge. High in the mountains of the Trans-Ili Alatau, the Turgen River originates. It carries its stormy water between the majestic mountains of the Turgen Gorge, and along its channel, the green Tian Shan firs and thicket of barberry, wild rose, wild raspberries, and currants grow. Clean air and picturesque landscapes made by the Turgen Gorge are one of the most popular holiday destinations. Kairak is one of the largest of the 7 waterfalls that adorn the slopes of the gorge. Its height is more than 50 meters. From the Kazakh language, the word Kairak is translated as grindstone. The choice of such a name becomes clear as soon as the rapidly falling cascade of water is opened up to your eyes. The power of the stream, which has broken its way through the Bozgul River through the rocks, is capable of impressing anyone. Scientists believe that in the recent past, this waterfall was even more impressive and spectacular. The beautiful Kairak waterfall fascinates anyone. Again and again, you want to return to the gorge and dreamily peer into the streams of water, hoping to see the ancient water spirit, the guardian of the waterfall. Each country has something unique and special that attracts tourists from other countries. Kazakhstan is a unique country with vast expanses, with boundless masses of alpine mountains, azure waters of lakes. This is an amazing land where almost all landscapes are existing on our planet, which are collected here. The Rocky Mountain gorges in which rivers rustle and rolling waterfalls closely adjoin the drying up of the beds of ancient rivers, hot mountain lakes with scorching hot sand. All of this can be found on the Kazakh land. In the next program, we will tell you about one of the picturesque places, which is famous for its beauty and uniqueness.